Hi everyone. So a lot of you have heard us talk about the three things that we believe stand out for Australia to deliver the AI independence it needs to power the applications and solutions of our future. And we talk about them a lot, but it's worth spending 2 minutes now talking about them. Well, what are those three things? It's speed, it's affordability, and it's sovereignty. Those three things are needed for Australia to stand on our own 2 feet and be able to power the applications and workloads that are needed for the future. So to get there, SCX.ai has talked a lot about the importance of these and how we can deliver them for folks. But I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about something we've just added to our website, which is the ability right here to check your sovereign posture. So many people come and talk to us about their concerns of their data, but then they're thinking, gee, I don't know how to measure it. How do I understand it? And for some people, it's how do I communicate that to my management? Because the management is also concerned because, in Australia, directors of companies have real liability and need to be aware of these challenges. So we've seen people come to us and want to learn more about that. So we've just added this check your sovereign posture. Let's go and do it. So what is your AI sovereignty posture? I mean, this is more and more important. AI is becoming operational infrastructure. The question is no longer which model performs best, but where your prompts, logs, administrators, inference routes, and cost controls actually sit. And we've created a 2-minute, literally 2-minute quiz that you can do to get a bit of a view of where your organization stands in terms of your AI sovereignty posture. You can understand where your AI runs, understand dependencies, and prioritize your next steps. There's some references here to why this is important for Australia and some great links you can learn about what the National AI Plan is saying, what the hosting certification framework says, what the Australian government architecture recommendations are. There's great data there. But let's jump in and talk about our sovereignty posture and understand how we can understand where we fit. So this is a 2-minute quiz. Find the control gaps hiding in everyday AI decisions. So this is really simple, and these are the kind of questions everybody should be able to answer. And if you don't know the answer, press unsure, because that's going to give you more of a view and give this tool the ability to help you better to understand where you are. So let's answer this like a lot of people are answering these questions today. I get lots of conversations. Where do you know where your AI workloads are processed today? A lot of people have this question, and for many of them, the answer is unsure. They may have done a deal with a large hyperscaler or maybe with some individual AI lab, and they've said there's stuff going on, but a lot of the time it's best effort. And maybe there's a node somewhere running in one particular location, but very often that hyperscaler has the rights under their contract to load balance that across multiple locations, to cache prompts and do a lot of other things. So I think this is going to be something a lot of people will be unsure about. Question 2 is all to do with data and metadata jurisdiction. Could prompts, logs, or metadata leave Australia without approval? And again, I think for a lot of people, the answer actually is yes, because they're in a situation where they aren't in control. They're dependent upon rules that hyperscalers put in place. And, I think this is something that many people will answer yes to. Are you dependent on a foreign provider for critical AI services in the provider dependency section? Well, certainly I think that's a reality for a lot of people. They've just gone out there and got an API key and are going for it, but they are dependent upon that provider, and that is a question that I think many people will simply have to answer yes to. Could pricing materially change without your control? This is the cost exposure. And, this is another one because AI is getting expensive. Some of the prices that are out there, and particularly when you're being charged in US dollars, can be a huge issue. And we've seen this happen where pricing has changed. I think just even over the last few weeks, we've seen some of the AI labs come and change pricing, and then you've got the fluctuating exchange rate. So I think, yeah, that's probably true. For a lot of people, this is a question too. Can you switch providers without rebuilding applications? And I think for some people, the answer is yes. They've done the work so that they can switch providers without rebuilding applications. This is in portability. But I actually think for a lot of people, they've never tried it and they're unsure. So I think a lot of people are going to answer unsure. How about supply chain? Do you know every subcontractor in your AI supply chain? I know that the answer is no for most people because they are dependent upon some hyperscaler. Maybe they've read a white paper on security from that hyperscaler, but they don't really know what's going on. And I think the answer will be no for a lot of people. And back to cost governance. Are AI costs transparent and forecastable? Well, I think a lot of people would think yes, they can kind of work it out. But look, maybe it's unsure. Maybe some people out there don't really know what their AI costs are going to be in the future and they need help to understand it. How about governance? This is local governance. Can governance be enforced locally? So this is another interesting one because, like a lot of people might think yes. I'm going to tend to unsure because my view might be that many people haven't tested this. They don't really know if it could be enforced locally and they're not sure. So let's put that. Now, this is one that's particularly interesting at the moment on operational resilience is would services continue during geopolitical disruption? We just saw it recently with what's happening around the world and, data centers being attacked, which we would never have thought about even mentioning data centers being attacked. But of course, it's more than that. This could be some political disruption where maybe, access to those foreign AI services was removed. You didn't have access to it. You didn't have control. And I think many people are going to be in the yes bucket here. Okay, executive awareness. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about this. But does leadership understand your sovereignty exposure? And I wouldn't be surprised if you'd agree the answer is no. A lot of leadership in companies does not understand their sovereignty exposure. And they're taking a lot of risks. Okay, let's see the results. So let's scroll up here and see. You have material sovereignty exposure. Your organization is likely dependent on offshore AI infrastructure in ways that reduce control, increase risk, and limit your ability to respond to change. Data, metadata, pricing, continuity, or administration may sit outside your control. And I got a 1 out of 10. So look, I think this is an exposure signal. It's not a compliance certificate. I think it just gives people a real view of what is going on with this critical new capability. And I think it's incumbent on all of us to understand this and be able to share it. And then we give you some of these risk signals here, which is nice. Okay, so how can SCX.ai help? Well, a couple of things we're doing. We would love to speak to you. So if you're interested, come along, click this button. We'd love to speak to you about this. But more than that, we're actually running 2 really cool things. One is an executive sovereignty workshop where we will actually come in and talk to the executive in your organization about AI governance, AI risk, and AI sovereignty. Totally free of charge. We'll come and talk to your executives, give them a view of the liability they face and the risks they face. We'll also do what's called a technical sovereignty audit. So if you're interested in learning what's actually going on with this, we're going to go and get to the technical sovereignty back here. I think this is something we'd love to talk to you more about because if you're interested in a real, not just executive briefing, but what's going on? Let's do a technical audit and understand what's behind your AI stack so that your technical leaders can understand it and they can get someone else who can give your executive a view of where the risk is real and what you can do to address it. So again, look, would really love to have you check your sovereignty posture on SCX.ai. Let us know what you think is happening out there in your world and work with us. And we'd love to go on this journey together. Thanks.